Stained. It's been a while. They're all coming in. They're filing in, folks. Hurry up. Get your seats. We are you all right there, bro?
I'm trying to figure why this is saying.
What? What's wrong? Everything okay? Wow.
Find out.
It's been a while
for
Chris.
The technical difficulties, guys.
Yeah, you're in the room. I see you, Lucky Gucciano. Anyway,
that's what I'm saying. That's why I got confused. I was like,
AJ back in the building. Mark from Canada back in the building. Break Buds Joe back in the building. Armand back in the building. Everybody's back. It is a reunion show. It is the Chop Sports Social right here. This show right here can be seen on the Premier Streaming Network every week. So if you've been missing us, you can go subscribe over there and watch us every week. We talk all the shit over there. But today, it's a special day. Feels different. There's a little bit of, it feels like there's smoke in the air, Chris.
Yeah, it's not me this time. I promise.
It feels like there's a good feeling right now, and it is the NFL. And the NFL is very, very back. And I got jazzed up. You know what? Look, and I'm not going to say.
Dave just said jazzed
I said jazzed up, dog. Calling the cops. Raise the volume, sexy, or I'm calling the cops. Well, maybe he's just not talking loud enough. I don't know. Oh, it's over there. You got it over there? Go check your levels over there. Make sure. I think you're mic too. Yeah, everybody's plugged in. So anyway, what was I saying before? Yeah, so NFL, we're back. I did get the first NFL feeling. I got to shout him out because I always do. But like I was scrolling Instagram and there I saw the very first NFL picks video out of Sauce. I saw the Lions graphic. I saw the Chiefs graphic. I'm like, oh, we're back. It is the NFL, and it is so very back. So today, what we're going to do is we're going to break down some division winners, some possible MVPs, Offensive Rookie of the Year, Super Bowl picks. We'll do it all today. So, yes, I am ready to go. So
Brett, you don't have this number, I don't think.
Oh, he doesn't. Brett, he does not respond to texts. I will tell you right now, the very worst person on the history of people to respond to text messaging, and it's not close anymore. It used to be like neck and neck with a couple other buddies that I have, but Chris has taken the reins. You don't text back for shit. I'm like, yo, code for this, nothing. Or, yo, where's this? Nothing. We're on different schedules now a lot, so it's like I don't really necessarily see them all day, but like, holy shit. Get your ringer on or something to that variation.
I have multiple phones and I just don't carry them all in my hand. So codes are going to this phone or that phone. So it's a little work in progress, but we're getting it sorted out. All right, Brett, I just gave you my number that I respond to people on. So
wow, he actually put that on the air.
Yeah, I don't give a fuck, bro. It doesn't matter. You could text me. Probably not going to answer you. So guys, good luck.
Sam Grasso checking in as well. I'm running everything over here. We have no producer or anything like that, so it's just me and Chris every week. Like I said, if you like this, head on over to Premiere. I think it's like $9.99 a month, but if you're a wrestling fan, you get all the stuff that they got over there, and that's the network we're on. We're trying to build the sports department over there. My Jersey Boys podcast, huh? Right? You can download the podcast. It comes out every week.
I know that's how Joe listens.
Yeah, so I do also want to let you guys know that this show, the Chop Sports Social, is being brought to you by our friends at Absolute Eyewear, Craig and Johnny Mashad over there in Woodbridge next to the train station. Those guys are lifers right now. I love them dearly. They have really supported us since Jump Street. So thank you guys as always. And we want to let you guys know we're also coming to you live from the Richard Lucas Chevrolet and Subaru studio right here in beautiful Matawan, New Jersey, right on 34. So if you ever want to come down and check us out and see what we do over here, we are renting space out. So that's another little PSA right there. We have this room, which is basically multi-purpose right now. I go to Chicago and I knew I was going to come back and the place was going to be completely flipped on its ear. And it was. So, and normally I don't come in and say like, oh, this is terrible. There's always a rhyme or reason behind the madness that is Chris Gucci, but that's us. How you doing, bud?
I'm good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's been a while. It's been a while since we went live with the
masses. I just want to talk football at this point. I'm over all the banter. No offense, guys. It's been a while, but
breaking news. Kyle's coming in. Sturch predicts that the Cowboys will win the NFC East for the 29th consecutive season. Well, guess what?
He's not that. Guess what? He's not that Cowboy fan.
I'm not that
he's
Cowboy
not the
fan.
guy that thinks, bro. You just predicted them to win the NFC East. I understand it's a Cowboys podcast that you're doing it on, but
first of all, I'm not one of those march to the beat of like, this is our year every year. I'm not. Go back. I mean, look, we've been doing this show for what, 2-3 years now. So go back and go to the NFL preview episode last year.
I could go back
and
to
see me pick the Cowboys.
How about this? How about this? I could probably find, and this is no. I'm being honest here. I could probably find like 8 of each posts last year alone. Like week 2, week 3, week 4.
Not true, because Dak went down early, so I wasn't very confident at all. He went down with the thumb.
That's what I'm saying. But then there was like subsequently, like after a second Cooper Rush win, it was like, I don't know, man. I'm telling you,
nope,
I'm telling you that once Dak
this
comes
is the Stone
back,
Cold. This is the Stone Cold right here.
Bro,
not me. I'm not that guy. No shot that I was that guy. But listen. We'll get into all that. We'll get into the NFL because it's here. No more preseason, no more training camp, no more this, no more that. The breaking news, I guess we would have to say, no pun because there was no break.
Well, there was on Tuesday.
What break? Oh, your break.
Yeah,
break. By the way, follow the break buds. He's got the shirt on.
I think Joe just shared the link. That's why.
Dope. All right, awesome. So
that was kind of corny.
I was your segue sucks.
No, you're just honestly, my segue was good, but you were like stoned or something. Dave had a quarter of a gun.
I've been inhaling cigarette smoke all morning long. Okay, it's not my fault. In any event, I digress with that. It's another story for another day. Maybe on the Dave Sturcich Show, brought to you by all these other good people, and that'll be live tomorrow, or not live tomorrow, but I'll do that tomorrow when I have time. But yeah, so the only news going into tonight, and we'll pick the game later, but the only news going into tonight is Travis Kelce. All the fantasy drafts are done. So Travis Kelce is going to test out the knee. We'll see if he goes. My gut says he goes, right? I mean,
no,
really? Do you think there's an actual shot he misses tonight?
I mean, yeah, he's testing it before the game. He hyperextended his knee, yesterday, 2 days ago?
Tuesday, yeah.
Yeah, so he could be worse off today than he was yesterday at this point. It's that early in the process here. We have no idea. Or he could be good to go, but there's no way that either one of us can make that determination because I haven't talked to him. And I'm sure that if they're not practicing, it doesn't really matter. He's a good enough player, knows the system, obviously, so doesn't need to practice. Doesn't need to practice.
The only thing I could say is this, and
I don't know why would they play him.
I spoke to my boy Greg, who also works at Subaru over there.
Kelce blowing his knee out week
well, that's what my boy Greg said. He's like, they got a little bit of a mini bye after this. You know what I mean? So you have plenty of rest if you don't go. It just I got to know from Kyle how much has the line moved already because I think it was 6 and then it went to 4 if I'm not mistaken with this news. So if that's a 2-point swing just based off of one injury, and not to mention their best defensive pass rusher is not in the building. Chris Jones is not going to play in this game. So that's a big deal. He was a very, very good run stopper.
There's a chance that KC stumbles out of the gate a little bit. Their offense is obviously different. I know that Juju isn't really like this huge of a piece, but he was a piece that they needed and they relied on a lot last year. If Kelce's not there, able to go, they're without their pass rush. I'm sure just throughout the course of the offseason, they, considering when you're a team that good, it's hard to keep your players after you win a Super Bowl or a couple in a couple years.
So that's the Rams.
Yeah, I mean, there's situations a lot different. Kelce's taking like a lot less money than he should be getting.
You think?
Yeah. Oh,
I mean, it's a tight end market, so it's like you can only reset it once.
I think honestly, now this
should he be getting receiver money?
Not to get too far off the subject, I think Travis Kelce is doing the tight ends of the NFL a disservice by not taking a big ass contract because
I see what you mean. Because if he doesn't take the $20 million a year, nobody will get there.
Where Tom Brady had the ability to reset the market like 4 times in a row.
And he did not. No. He just decided to win Super Bowls. Ant in the building, what's going on, Ant? So he decided to win some Super Bowls, restructure all that shit.
I still think the Chiefs probably put up points early in this game, and I could easily see a backdoor cover.
Could possibly.
Are we on that point? Are we at that point yet?
I mean, not yet. Wow, you want to get out of here already?
No. I'm just saying. It's like we got.
Well, the line for FanDuel started at 6.5 and is now 4.5 according to Armand. So let's just, I guess, since we're talking about it, where are you going? Where do you feel? Where are you leaning?
Honestly, I was kind of in the beginning leaning KC, but truthfully, Kansas City doesn't do well against the spread historically.
They have not. Last year they did not.
And Detroit obviously plays well against the spread. I could see Kansas City just beating them early and then Detroit covering in the back end. It's like very similar to how both these teams, I know that's basically chalk in this game for a lot of people, and the point spread's going down. I think it was going down before the Kelce news.
Anyway. Well, I think the Chris Jones stuff started really affecting things too. That's their best defensive player.
Yeah,
without even
it
question.
was at 6.5 earlier in the week from what I saw, and then the fact that it's at 4.5 now.
I wonder where it
obviously attributed
closes.
to Kelsey,
I
but
wonder where that news where it closes when Kelsey says yay or nay. I wonder if it drops another point, maybe 3.5, which would be ridiculous if you think about it,
No, it
because it's
wouldn't.
Detroit. I mean, we'll talk about Detroit, but like, man, oh man, that's crazy. But any event, it's the NFL. It starts tonight. It goes down.
I'm not going to bet this game, but
I'm staying away from this
probably
game.
ride with Detroit if I was.
I might ride with Detroit as well if I do bet this game, but I don't think I will. Week ones are very tough. So shout out to Sauce Network and AJ and Kyle. Those guys got a hard task ahead of them. Week ones are never the easiest ones to pick because there's just no preseason anymore, meaning like a lot of the starters don't play enough, right? So the first couple weeks of the NFL season, you would think that they're just getting their bearings. So it's very hard. So even the lines that are made, I find very hard to make. You know, if you're a book and you're trying to make these lines, I just don't foresee how you make a line in week one. Like, do you really think that this team is X and this team is Y and this is why we're doing this line?
I mean, these guys have been at it, they've been at it a really long time, and you know, how hard is it to make a line? I could look at these games and probably without looking at the point spreads, get within a point of each.
Armand's got a 2-leg parlay, Lions plus 6.5 and Gibbs over 39.5. I hope Gibbs freaking eats.
I like Gibbs and over 40 rush yards. I think that's very, very attainable. And
that's doable.
When did you get that? When did you get that in? That had to have been at least earlier in the week.
Yeah, before it dropped to 4.5. Absolutely. So not a bad parlay at all. I hope you cash. All right. So let's go over some division winners, right? I mean, we got the entire NFL landscape. They're about to go down on Sunday, Monday. There's a lot of hype that was built over the offseason. I know this guy hasn't watched it, but Hard Knocks really got me sold on a lot of the cool shit that the Jets got going on. I'm a very firm believer in that team. We'll start in the AFC East. We'll start who is going to come out of the AFC East as champions. Obviously, Tua coming back off of multiple injuries. You got the Patriots that have a new offensive coordinator in Bill O'Brien, and Mac Jones was named the starter because Bailey Zappi's out of town. Then you got the Jets with all the shit that they just pretty much concocted with Rodgers and Dalvin Cook and Lazard and Cobb and pretty much the entire Packers offense is over there in New York now. And then you have the Bills. The Bills, Josh Allen has been that dude for a little while now. Stephon Diggs has come out. He already tried to clear the air. He's saying he's not happy over there. I'm sure he's going to go ball out. I can't imagine he doesn't. So I'll throw it to you first and I'll piggyback it. Who's coming out of the AFC East?
I mean, it's obviously everyone's looking at the Jets, and I'm going to just go out and say I think the Jets are a very good team, but the offensive line scares me a lot. So based on that and the age of Aaron Rodgers, it might end up being on Zach Wilson anyway at a certain point this year. There's a chance. There's a chance. He's 40 years old. The offensive line is their major flaw, right? There's question marks.
But if anybody can get rid of that ball quick, it's him.
There's question marks around the running back situation with Breece Hall. I think the Dalvin Cook signing is a good thing, obviously, because it allows them to not let anyone get run ragged. But still, the other issue there is still the offensive line. I think defensively, the Jets are going to be very, very good, and Buffalo is going to be very good stopping the run, and they're going to do the things that they've done well for the past couple of years, but there's still going to be the liabilities with Josh Allen in certain situations where I don't know what it is about him, but Stephon Diggs, the rumors weren't that he wanted out. They were just that he doesn't like Josh Allen's work ethic and he doesn't try hard enough, et cetera. All this bullshit without getting into the drama. There's definitely a little bit of trouble brewing in Buffalo, and they're trying to get rid of it now, but you lose a couple games to the wrong teams and that could surface easily. I'm worried a little bit about Buffalo, but I'm still going to pick them to win the division because until someone knocks them off
to be the man, you gotta beat the man.
So that's it. As good as Aaron Rodgers is, and he's a great all-time. I love Aaron Rodgers, but they're still the same team that missed the playoffs last year, right? And they didn't do much.
Talk about the Packers.
Yeah. He was the quarterback of that team too.
All right. Well, right? I'll ask you this: who had going into the season?
Aaron Rodgers didn't have a spectacular year last year.
No. But I'm saying who going into a season, who had the better offense? The Packers of last year, or the Jets of this year?
Loaded
with weapons.
Well, I think. At wide receiver, do you think the Jets are loaded at wide receiver?
Absolutely. Garrett Wilson's going to be a star.
Well, they have Garrett Wilson, but beyond that, they have the Packers.
They have Lazard, who's, you could say he's good. Randall Cobb. They have 2 undrafted free agents.
You just named 2 guys that were also on the team last year. So I agree. Garrett Wilson's definitely an upgrade over any of their wide receiver ones. But if you saw what Watson did in the second half last year, he wasn't really an upgrade. He matched him at worst. I'm not saying he's the caliber of that player, but you get what I'm saying. And I do think that if you're looking at the running backs and the offensive line, now you can make a very good case that
the Packers had some
offensive
woes
line,
on the offensive line last year. Bakhtiari was hurt pretty much all year.
The Packers offensive line, their metrics stack up against almost anybody in the league last year running the football.
Okay.
And they have Aaron Jones and AJ Dillon. And I don't think Aaron Rodgers was really running for his life much. They did well protecting him for the most part, I thought.
All right. So you got the Bills out of the East. For one, I'm going to go on the hype. I mean, I did it last year. I think I did it last year because I thought the Jets were going to start like 5-0 and then Wilson would just wound up sucking.
They do have Mecole Hardman. You're right.
Hardman too.
But,
and he's a burner. So I'm going to buy into the hype. And not only because of the offense, I think this defense is going to be unbelievable. I think Sauce Gardner is one of the better corners in the league, if not top 3 right now. I think that McDonald, the draft pick, he's going to have himself a phenomenal rookie season along with Quentin. So it's like you're looking at this team, they're just stacked everywhere. Like the only hole I would say right now from personal experience is that you have Greg Zerline as your kicker.
You really think that their offense is stacked?
I really do, bro. If Breece Hall, let's just pretend Breece Hall doesn't get hurt last year.
Is solid, but Breece Hall did get hurt last year.
I'm saying, but if they didn't, but now he's back.
But is he?
Yeah.
All right.
And Dalvin Cook?
We'll see. Dalvin Cook is coming off a surgery as well.
CJ Azuma at tight end with a better quarterback.
There's question marks surrounding both their running backs. You have to agree to that.
They kept on the Michael Carter. They got the rookie that's coming off an injury too.
There might be a little bit of wolf tickets on the Jets offense this year. That's all I'm saying. Might be. I think their defense is going to be as good as advertised, and I agree there. Their defense is going to take over games and win them football games against some elite offenses at that.
Mm-hmm.
You saw what they did last year to Josh Allen.
Yeah.
That was before they were even supposed to be as good as they are now. This defense is coming into their own. I think they're going to be a good football team defensively, and their offense is the question mark to me. Okay. Aaron Rodgers doesn't just come in and fix everything. They got to work at it.
I mean, look, to me, this is a very similar situation to what Tom Brady got to do. He got to leave on his own accord.
I'm not sure about their coach.
I like him. I like the whole, the aura around him. I like their coordinators. I like the fact that Hackett no longer has to be a head coach. He could just be his loose self, as you saw on Hard Knocks. But like what I'm looking at now is that I'm looking at the situation for Aaron Rodgers as very, very similar to Tom Brady. He left on his own accord. He told everybody he wanted out. He got traded to the place he wanted to go or signed, whatever. He found a new team. He got Gronk out of retirement. He got some Mike Evans, Chris Godwin down there. Like he had himself a decent team to start. I think Aaron Rodgers has a decent team to start. So I just feel like same trajectory.
Yeah.
Difficult division. Don't get me wrong. It's not like he's going to run through that shit. I just think it's going to be his division to win, but that's just me. AFC North, which I think is probably the hardest division to pick in the NFL this year, outside of maybe it is the hardest because these guys are all stacked. Joe Burrow probably will go this week with the Bengals, right? And then you have the Ravens. Lamar gets his new deal. Odell Beckham's on there. Zay Flowers looks really good. J.K. Dobbins is actually upright. So we'll see. Mark Andrews can't suck as much as he sucked last year because obviously, Lamar being gone hurt him. Their defense is still pretty studly. And then you have to look at the Cleveland Browns. They can't possibly suck as bad as they did last year because Deshaun Watson is 1 year more into the league. Elijah Moore is something to keep your eye on. Chubb by himself now. No more fallback for Hunt, right? No more fallback there. David Njoku, a lot of hype around him this time around because of another year with Watson. And then you have the Pittsburgh Steelers, who I think nobody's talking enough about because Kenny Pickett didn't really light the scoreboard up last year, but does Najee Harris stink like he stunk last year? No, I think he's going to bounce back year. So out of the North, I'll pick first. To me, this is one of those until you beat them and dethrone them. I got the Bengals winning this division, but it's very close. I think the Steelers are a wild card. I really do. The Ravens are going to be right there, and this division might be the tightest and toughest of the season, I think, because there's talent everywhere at every position of every team of this division.
I think Pittsburgh is clearly the odd man out here. I wouldn't say clearly because Cleveland could go either way as well, but I need to see something out of the Steelers. They're very young, and defensively, they were very bad the last couple of years.
They still got Mika and they still have TJ Watt. Those guys are still going to make plays.
Have been there as well. And Watt was hurt last year as well. So maybe that's a good point. But even with the year before, when he won Defensive Player of the Year, they still couldn't tackle. He had a lot of good pass rush stats, but they couldn't stop the run for shit. I know that was 2 years removed, but Pittsburgh, they look to be, to me, the worst team in the division. I think Cleveland, value-wise, is the best bet because they're
Are they?
I think they're like plus 365. They were even higher than that. They were like plus 450 a month back, but plus 365, that's where I'm going to place it if I was, because obviously Burrow and the Bengals, everyone, there's no value there to me. So while I think there is a chance they win the division, I'm hoping Cleveland does because I've given advice to people saying, hey, there might be value. So I would
I
probably
heard you
pick
say
the
that a
Browns.
couple times.
Deshaun Watson is clearly a better quarterback than he showed from I think, was it week 11 or 12 on?
Whenever he
last year,
got back from
when he got
his
back.
rub and tug. Yeah.
It was butt stuff, but
Whatever he's in.
Nick Chubb is a stud. Amari Cooper, one of the most underrated receivers in football. Their defense could get after the quarterback.
There's a lot of people picking Myles Garrett to win Defensive Player of the Year this year.
Takes over football games, a lot could happen right for them.
So you got the Browns.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to stick with the Bengals. I'm going to go with the Browns. AFC South, which might be the easiest division to pick, unless somebody wants to make a case for the Tennessee Titans. I'll just start it off. I think the Jaguars are going to have a fantastic year. I think what you've done for Trevor Lawrence is you re-added Evan Ingram. Make sure he's staying there. A young quarterback's best friend is the tight end. And then, of course, you have Christian Kirk coming back, Zay Jones coming back, and then you add Calvin Ridley off a year break from the NFL. No tread on those tires, or there's plenty of tread on those tires, rather. I think the Jaguars, plus the running game and ETN, and you have Tank Bigsby back there. Jaguars they might run away with this division by like 3 or 4 games, unless something happens where Tannehill. I always say it, and this is a Francesa thing that I've seen or heard over and over and over again. If you have 2 quarterbacks, you have no quarterback. They have 3 on the roster right now, and nobody can figure out who the next guy is. They kept Malik. I think he's number 2 on the depth chart. So I can't even. They're in disarray. And I like Hopkins for his value. A lot of people are taking him in like 4th, 5th round. He's still one of the better receivers in football, I think. He just had a tough break at it with Kyler Murray as his quarterback. But
it's going to be a 2-team race, and I don't think it's in disarray. I think it's clear that it's Ryan Tannehill this year, and even if he's under contract and it's not too harmful to the cap number, that I don't see any reason why they would even force the other guys next season. You know, they didn't really invest. It's a 2nd-round pick, right?
Both of them. Or Willis was 3rd?
Yeah, Willis, eventually they could probably make him expendable. You saw what happened with Trey Lance.
Very surprised that they
But do you really think it's in disarray? They have the depth chart. Whoever's listed on the depth chart and where, they know why. You know,
yeah,
because we don't know. I'm pretty sure Mike Vrabel and everybody in the quarterback room knows exactly what's going on. I don't think that they're a good football team, but then you look, and you know, I've said this in the past. I've looked at their roster almost every single season and been like, but then
they wind up doing something.
There they are.
Right.
Clearly, I think Jacksonville is the cream of the crop in the division.
Sam Grasso picking the Titans to win the division.
Yeah, I'm not. I'm going to pick Jacksonville. I think the quarterback is a star. I think Dougie P is a really good coach.
Quarterback
He's as good of a coach as Vrabel, if not better. He's got a Super Bowl. I think Dougie P is a difference maker for that team. The defense is something that nobody talks about because of the Ridley and Trevor excitement, but that defense really can be one of the elite defenses in the league, I think.
Yeah.
Especially when you're looking at the schedule that they got to deal with. It's really not that
you get to play the rest of the division 6 games.
Out of all the AFC teams, you know, everyone else, it seems like, has to run a gauntlet. That could be something late in the season that they have to worry about, really not getting tested that much and being a little bit of wolf tickets attached to their record, something you saw with the Vikings last year.
All right.
But we'll see.
All right, so we both got the Jags, and as we head to the AFC.
And I think Ridley might be wide receiver 3, if not higher.
In the NFL?
This year.
Wow.
Yeah.
High hopes for Calvin Ridley. AFC West, look, last year we went into the season, at least I did. I know you had some trepidation on this, but I didn't. I said, wow, this whole division's loaded. It's going to be incredibly talented across the board. Watch out, Mahomes. You got these guys on your tail. And it didn't play out like that. We saw the Broncos in complete downfall. They just completely sucked. And then you have the Raiders, who I thought were going to be hey, Derek Carr and Devontae Adams is going to be so much fun. And now 1 year removed from that, Jimmy G is the quarterback. And then, of course, you have the Broncos, who last year stunk. They get Sean Payton, which, by the way, did you see his quote yesterday with the whole kissing babies thing? I thought that was pretty funny. I think the Chargers, they're equipped. They're very equipped. And now you bring little boy wonder over there from Dallas, Kellen Moore. I don't know if that's a detriment or I don't know if it's an upgrade because we scored points in Dallas. Like that's no fault of his. But what I will say is his decision making was in question. So I don't know. He's got a lot of new toys. Herbert's going to be good. Eckler's going to be a top 3 running back. You have obviously Keenan Allen and Mike Williams, and nobody's talking about Quentin Johnston. So this team's going to be all right. And I think the Chargers will press Kansas City a little bit. But ultimately, I'll start it off. I think Kansas City, again, like as long as Patrick Mahomes is your quarterback of this team, I think he's that good to will that Chiefs team to a division title at the worst until his career is over. I mean, until you show me something. The Chargers are probably going to be biting their ankles. They're right there. But I feel like no matter what, when push comes to shove, who do you want the ball in the hands of? It's Patrick Mahomes. It's not close. So I'll take the Chiefs in this division.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to pick the Chiefs too, because I don't think that Denver is going to be better because they can't. I think so too. Worse, but I don't think Denver's going to make this massive leap the way everyone thinks. When you look at their offense, Jerry Jeudy's already nicked up, which is.
I pick up that guy Mims in my league.
He looks like he's coming back around earlier than they thought, Jerry Jeudy. But when you're dealing with a hamstring this early and a guy like him who seemingly can't stay on the field, they're only down to Cortland Sutton. Tim Patrick's already out for the year.
Achilles,
right?
Poor guy, man. That guy
coming back from the ACL.
Guy can't catch a break.
Now, some guys heal well and they come back, they bounce back, and they're fine. But then some guys heal and then they're okay, they're healthy, but they're Saquon 1 year removed. And then some guys are Saquon 2 years removed. And there's a big difference when you see a guy fully recovered. It happened even with Acuna in baseball. Last year, the ACL wasn't fully ready. This year, you see what Acuna is doing when he's 2 years removed from the surgery.
Mm-hmm.
When you get fully healthy, you become a better player. I don't know that Javante's fully there yet. Denver's defense.
I think they added Samaje Perine over there.
But Samaje Perine, let's be real.
He's been
guys who are who they are.
Guy.
He's going to be a guy that if you need to hand the ball to somebody 7 to 10 times a game to give your guy a break, he's going to do the right thing. He'll block well, do a little bit of everything right, but he's not going to be a game changer for them. I think also I'm not a big fan of Sean Payton. I think Sean Payton's a little overrated.
I mean, think about it. He only won the 1 Super Bowl, right? I mean, it's not like
I think he's a little overrated.
I was just going to say you probably can compare him to Mike McCarthy if you're being honest. One bowl.
I think he's a better offensive mind than McCarthy, and I think because of that's not a bad comparison. I don't like either guy,
right?
But I do.
So
I would say Sean Payton's a better head coach, but I don't know that he's playing the situation right. While the comments might be funny, if there's something that we've learned about Russ the last couple of seasons is that he's fragile.
He's a very fragile guy. Yeah,
he's very guarded and he's worried about his image. And saying something like that publicly might not be the best thing to do for your quarterback. They might already be at odds in Denver, and nobody's going to say that because it's the joke now. But it's one of those things that in like week 8, some columnists, if they're like 2 and
if
they're like 2 and 6, it's going to be like Russ didn't appreciate those comments. That
if I'm Russell Wilson and you want to change the game and change your image immediately, because again, the Mr. Unlimited bullshit, and everybody was like, what a cornball, right? Bronco country, let's ride. Everybody thinks you're a cornball. If he runs in a touchdown week 1, he needs to rock a baby and kiss it. He has to. And he changes everything. Everybody's like, wow, that was funny. No, nothing. I like it.
I think Russ at this point is at a point of no return. He already is.
Wow,
who he is. What you see,
no return.
I'm not saying that he can't be a good quarterback again, but I'm saying as far as like his image and shit like that, no. We've already established who he is. So anything at this point that he does would be fake.
Okay.
You don't just suddenly
Bailey.
Real.
What up, dog? Welcome back from Seattle.
Big Bailey.
Bailey was pumped yesterday when I said we were going live today. All right, so
not that pumped, Bailey. 30 minutes late, you son of a bitch.
He's on Seattle time. We got to catch him a break.
Yeah, no,
it's probably raining out there.
Or he's probably working on it.
That's true. He's probably on the high rise or something with his construction hat on. Anyway, so that's the AFC. I'll just leave it up to you right now. Who's coming out of the AFC as the AFC champion this year?
Honestly, I haven't really even put that much thought into it.
I mean, you have your division winners. You have a couple guys you say are going to be on the cusp.
It's so corny to say the Chiefs
but it's not, because it's just like that's my pick. I think the Chiefs come out of the AFC. I love the Jets.
Exhibit A.
No, because listen, I want the Jets. I want the Jets for the local community, for Brett, for Jets fans everywhere, for Ray.
Fuck are you, bro? A philanthropist for the local community.
This
isn't charity.
I'm the fucking mayor right now.
No, I don't want to deal with Nick Shine at all.
See, that's another one. I listen. That guy's been through enough.
No, if the Jets, if the Jets make the Super Bowl, I'll root for the Jets for Aaron Rodgers. If the Jets the Jets to go 7-10.
Let's call it how it is. There's a lot of Jets fans here, right? Nick Shine cut off his fucking toe for them to win the Super Bowl.
No, he didn't.
Love you, Shine. Anyway,
the local community.
Listen, man. Yeah, it's not one of my finer moments, but I think for the local sports scene, it would be good for the Jets to do good. So let's go Jets. And for Miles, according to Jimmy Palumbo, my son's a Jet fan, which he's not, by the way. Let's clear that air real quick for 2023. Jimmy likes jokes where he beats them over the fucking head until they're dead.
Who am I gonna pick? Just so if they win, I can be like, I fucking called it, but I really have no evidence, or I'm just gonna pick a team.
I can sense something coming from you, and I think, are you on the Browns to win the AFC? No, so I don't know, man.
Talking about,
come out.
It's hard to go against Joe Burrow late in the year.
Icy Joe.
But that's also corny. Like there's none of.
Oh man, we're all worried about image right now.
No AFC teams. No,
it's a pick.
I don't think any AFC team's gonna win.
You're right. Actually. So AFC goes uncrowned.
I think I'm just gonna call it. I'm too cool to pick an AFC winner this year.
Wow. I mean, that's Gooch for you in a nutshell. And if you watch the show from Jump Street, that seems very on brand.
I'm out on the AFC
with Gooch.
entirely.
I'm just. AFC's corny. I'm not going to pick the AFC. So fuck it. Don't pick the AFC. Chiefs are going to win the AFC. All right, switching gears on over to the NFC. Let's see. Should we go west to east this time around? Nah, fuck it. We'll start in the NFC East, right? There's a lot of talent roaming around the NFC East. I want to say the lesser of the four, the Washington Commanders, did a bunch of stuff, including fire their bum hack of an owner or getting rid of him, voting him out, whatever, however you did that, sold it. So they're going to start getting some football people in there. Sam Howell's your quarterback. How that plays out, I don't know. I don't see it going that well. They do have some good receivers. They have a decent defense.
Dave's not doing his homework on fucking Sam Howell.
I mean, I'm doing my homework on Sam Howell.
He's a fucking dude.
Oh, of course. Yeah, he's a dude. He looks like a dude. He's just like Heineke. They're all the same over there. It's all Spider-Man meme quarterbacks.
Fucking dog.
So anyway, the New York Giants last year, the metrics were in the pudding, right? The proof was in the pudding that they were not as good as their record indicated. They got to the playoffs. They actually won a playoff game, and then they get bounced. But looking at the Giants from year to year, I think they overshot and overhyped themselves. They paid Daniel Jones. Saquon Barkley's back in the building. Their receivers are better. Their tight end is better. Waller is an absolute upgrade. Their defense is still, for me, a little suspect. Not, they're good, but they're not great. The Philadelphia Eagles, they lost the Super Bowl. Is there a real thing of a Super Bowl hangover? I don't know. We're about to find out. Jalen Hurts, 1 year removed from that loss. They lose both of their coordinators. They lose their running backs.
Thank God.
I know.
These guys, Jesus
they're cornball. You want to talk about corny. The Eagles are still going to be there. And then there's my beloved Dallas Cowboys, who I think are a leaps and bounds better team on paper this year than they were going into last year. It's all about Dak. And we've talked about this until I was blue in the face. To me this year, Dak Prescott has to be Trent Dilfer. That's how good I think the defense is. That's all he has to do. He just doesn't have to cost them games with bad interception. What? Look at that defense and tell me where the hole is. For the first time since 1992, the Cowboys drafted a defensive tackle, right, in the first round.
I mean, that doesn't mean that.
That was their biggest bugaboo last year, was stopping the run inside.
Rookie defensive tackles.
I mean, he might get pushed around a little bit. I'm not calling him an all-pro, but I'm saying.
I'm saying the Dallas Cowboys defense is very good, and they have a chance to be elite this season. But we're comparing them to what defense right now? I know that you're.
I think that's what Micah wants, and I think Micah is.
Accept your Trent Dilfer comparison. That's pretty spot on with Dak, but I would not compare.
Listen,
anything.
Dak Prescott will not be as bad as he was last year. In fact, I think he's due for a very big year. You added Brandon Cooks to take the top off. You can do that. You have underneath stuff. Gallup, another year removed off ACL. That's 2 years now. CeeDee Lamb's coming into his own as one of the elite receivers in this league, and he is. What they did was they got rid of my guy, Zeke. He's over there in New England. We didn't really talk about that, but Tony Pollard is now taking over. Rico Dowdle's there. Everybody fell in love with Deuce Vaughn. That's fun, but I don't know how much burn he's actually going to get.
Just saying that I'm saying the Cowboys defense is good, but they have to win a Super Bowl and literally dominate more than any other defense in maybe the history of the league to be compared to that.
Listen,
so
they were top top 3 last year, top 4 last year.
All time?
No, I'm talking about in the league,
Well,
right? And going into, but
the
look,
Ravens. When we're talking about all-time defenses,
85 Bears, 2,000 Ravens. That's your
like
bench.
There's a couple defenses that they're on that short list. They're on the Mount Rushmore.
Fine,
So.
but I think the Cowboys have an opportunity to do it. They had Stephon Gilmore, which you've praised over and over again.
I do agree. They're a defense, but I still think Philly. Dallas'
it's easy. I'm picking the Cowboys winning the division.
Might be better than
breaking
Philly's.
news.
Honestly, Dallas' defense is probably a little bit better than Philly, but I don't know about up front. Like as a whole on paper, Dallas, it's like, oh, they're really good. They have a lot of stars scattered around, and their back end is good. But up front, Philly is just going to wreck games for teams. Completely wreck.
I mean, they got the Georgia defensive line, so yeah.
And then some. And then some. That defensive line and the front seven in general is completely fucking loaded. People want to talk about middle linebacker being an issue, but I feel like you could look around the league, and maybe I'm going to misspeak here, but when the way that they're playing, the way those defenses play, and the way they have the size and the hybrid players right now, I feel like middle linebacker traditional is a dying position in the NFL a little bit.
Because they're bringing up safeties a lot. You know what I mean? Like guys are floating all over the place.
Yeah, and if you're not able to rush the passer, a lot of these middle linebackers don't go on. Look at what Dallas. Look how much worse of a defense Dallas is when Micah has to shift to middle linebacker because last year when Van Der Esch got hurt. How much worse?
Pass rush was an issue.
Pass rush was gone, and they were a far worse team. So they're putting your better players. They're getting them after the quarterback now. Maybe I'm wrong, but
Kyle coming in. Dave says, I'm not a this is our year type of Cowboys fan. Predicts the Cowboys to win a division, and Dak Prescott have a big year again. Copy and paste prediction from the last 5 years.
Yeah, he's not a.
I'm still not. I stand by that. I'll stand on that.
This is our year, guys. So they're going to lose to the Chiefs in the Super Bowl, or are you?
I don't know. We didn't get there yet. But the Cowboys winning the division. You got the Eagles?
Yes.
You think
and I do think that.
Where do you find the Giants at?
I think any one of these teams, there's a chance that all of these teams are in the playoffs.
Even Washington.
Yeah. I think Sam Howell is good. I really do think he's good. Their run defense might be number 1 in the NFL, right? It could be.
Chase Young, Deron Payne. Yeah, those guys are good.
Their run defense is very good. And I like
Smart's
their receivers. Bieniemy now. The only thing that worries me a little bit is
he's mean.
But
what kind of crap is that, dude?
And I think there's a chance that Brian Robinson elevates himself this season and
good. I took him
takes
in
the reins a little bit,
night.
and they're in a good spot at the running back spot because even if he was what he was last year, they still have the two-headed monster with Gibson and Brian Robinson.
All right, so that's the NFC East.
Washington's one of those sneaky teams this year.
Shifting on over to Chris Gucci's division, the NFC North. A lot of hype surrounding the big leap that the Lions might take. The Vikings added a receiver, lost a receiver. They lost Thielen, and they added Jordan Addison. They lost their running back, but a lot of people are high on Madison. Chicago Bears. To me, I mean, Justin Fields was a lot of fun to watch at the end of last year, especially if you had him in fantasy. You were racking up some points. Can he throw the football? That remains to be seen, but they added DJ Moore. I know in the preseason, I think Justin Fields' touchdown passes had like a total air yards of like -1. A lot of bubble screens that got taken to the house. Great. If that's the offense you're going to run, let him run. And then you have the Packers. Now the Packers part ways with Aaron Rodgers. That is their biggest loss. That is a monumental loss to me. But Jordan Love has shown some glimpses that he can run this offense. I'll just start with you, Chris. 1, how will the Packers do? And 2, who's winning the division?
Packers are winning the division.
Jesus.
I mean,
that's as bad as me saying that. I mean, come on. Like,
not really.
It is.
Look,
you lost your MVP Hall of Fame quarterback, and you're going to just pick up where you left off. If not get better. They have to be better than last year by the rules. You have to have a better record.
I think that there's other ways that they're going to be improved. I think their defense will improve, and I don't think the Lions are clearly the best team on paper right now in terms of what's been proven. If Jordan Love makes the leap that I think he can, not even the leap, if he's just a player that I think he is, I don't know. I'm not sitting here breaking down film, but Jordan Love, he ended all 3 preseason games. His final pass of the game was a touchdown. All 3, right? He didn't make any bad decisions. The ball was coming out on time. So I know it's preseason. It doesn't mean anything. But if there was ever a preseason where I was kind of curious to see how a guy played, it was this one, right?
Sure.
And he looked good. And there was a lot of bullshit that he was dealing with early in camp about, he looks bad in practice. There was Jair talking shit to him, and honestly, I think he worked through a lot of that stuff early on. It's practice for a reason. But I just look at the Minnesota defense. I look at the Chicago defense. I look at Detroit's defense. Detroit's defense, I like Branch. I like Hutchinson. I think there's a chance that they could play a lot better. But look at the bottom lines of their defenses last year. And the Packers. There isn't a good defense in that whole division. So if we're talking about
the Vikings
where's the nearest path in this division, it's like, okay, Jordan Love might not be that good, but what if he is good? What if he is at least top 15 quarterback this year? What if he is, right? And what if the 8 first-round picks that start on Packers defense this year start playing the way they're capable of playing, and Rashawn Gary is back healthy, right? And now Jair is now 2 years removed from the ACL that he had going on, or the shoulder surgery that he had the year before. I think that's the key here. And was Aaron Rodgers really that great last year?
No. Hence their 9-8 record or whatever
he
they
really
finished.
wasn't. He wasn't playing this, he wasn't doing these magical things. It was a very young receiving core, which we're going to deal with anyway.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the relationship that these guys are able to have with Jordan Love is going to be a lot better. And these guys are probably ripping me up in the chat by now, but I don't think I'm saying anything that's wrong, especially when we're looking at the value.
Mm-hmm.
If we're looking at the value, the Packers are like plus 360. That's crazy to me. There's no way that the Vikings show anything that they're that good. It's still Kirk Cousins. Their defense was still awful. They lost Dalvin Cook. Now, who are we looking at? Detroit?
Yeah.
Has Detroit been favored to win anything in the last 20 years?
No. They haven't even sold out tickets.
So we'll see how Detroit plays now with a target on their back. This is a team last year that started 0-4.
I don't know if there's a target on their back. I just think the hype train is very.
Division. There's 100% when you're looking around the league right now, and you're looking at the favorites to win each division. Detroit's not a bum team no more. When you're got Detroit on the schedule, you got to play good. You got to play hard. It's not that it's not a look ahead. They're not looking ahead when you got Detroit this week.
Mm-hmm.
It's not happening anymore. And credit to them for getting to that point. But now you're here. Now let's see how you do it. There were backdoor covers, bro. I think they won 4 games 2 years ago, and they covered 13. So they were getting points in every one of them. Now they're going to be giving points a lot more. We'll see how they go. I'm not sold just yet.
We shall see. The comments are plentiful right now.
But also, fuck you. I can't tell if you're roasting me or not.
You can't never tell. Kyle's coming and saying, yo, AJ thinks Romeo Doubs should get RepSec quarterback. Maybe. That one, Hawaii Mike coming in, target on Campbell's forehead. Yeah, I think that the problem with being the outlandish, loud, outspoken coach, which I love, when you do that, you do like, hey, everybody, look over here. You know what I mean? So it's like, yes, that's why the target could potentially be on their back. So I, for one, once again, I'm going to ride the hype train a little bit. I think the Lions offense is going to be relatively good. They're going to score some points. And I'm going to pick the Lions to come out of this division, but very, very, very close. And I have, in my other shows, I've picked the Packers to be a wild card team. I think if Jordan Love just plays subpar football, their defense will kind of carry him through some games. They'll score some points. Let's not forget that Aaron Jones is their running back.
To be overly excited,
machine.
It's no reason to be overly excited about a Packers defense that if you look at the numbers last year against the run, it was so bad. But they have really good corners. They have a good
I'm a firm believer
rush.
in when you get years under your belt, and if they have the potential, they will live up to those expectations.
Back healthy.
And Jair is still one of the better corners in football. So I think it's going to be a Packers. I think the Packers could sneak in with like a 9-8, 10-7, 7 seed. I really do. That's how I see it playing out. And I'll take the Lions to win the division. Again, it's almost like buying into the hype. But
the running backs are improved. Jahmyr Gibbs is better than DeAndre Swift, and David Montgomery is better than Jamal Williams. So there's an upgrade there. They're going to get Jameson Williams back at the back end of the season. That could be a Jamar Chase type addition for all we know. He could be that good.
Fair.
It remains to be seen. In terms of the talent, the way he was touted coming in, if he didn't get hurt in college, he would have been a top 5, top 10 pick. No questions asked. Yeah. So he almost was anyway. So the talent level that they're able to potentially inject into that offense right around the time that they got cooking last year it's a scary thing to fathom, but it's still Jared Goff. Although I think Jared Goff is pretty good, but he's not going to he's very Jimmy G.
Yeah, Armand's coming in saying, all right, we talked about this a little bit yesterday. Watson and Dobbs both dealing with hamstrings, couldn't miss week 1. If that's the case, boy, I mean, that's going to be some tough sledding. But
I think they're going to run the ball a lot anyway. And
is
it tough sledding against the Bears secondary?
We're about to find out. But I was going to say, the Jameson Williams thing, being suspended for the gambling. The NFL's so funny, man. It's like they suspend Jameson Williams for 6 games for gambling or being on FanDuel app or whatever the fucking thing he did. But like, then you look at like Kamara, who was involved in a mugging. He gets 2-3 games. It's like, I don't know. The NFL's got it wrong again in that regard. But whatever. I digress with that shit. I'm not going to. Well, whatever. It's just so stupid to me. One is not the other. One is severely worse than the other.
I don't know about that.
Jameson Williams is affecting the integrity of the game if you're gambling, right? So that should be fine. You want to do 6? Fine. But you better uphold that standard of gambling to mugging somebody and being involved in that. Then you give him 6 as well. You don't just like pick and choose because the NFL commissioner is having a bad day or he's on his period or whatever the case may be. Like, screw that.
We're talking about, this is one guy's public image being tarnished.
But you think about it like this. When you look at both guys, who is the worser of the two? Jameson as a guy. You're looking at this guy like, this guy gambled? I mean, it's not right. Shouldn't do it, but he's not a piece of shit human. But then you have Kamara just beating the bricks off somebody.
It's not up to them to be. That's not what the punishment is being doled for. They're not. This isn't the justice system.
No, I get that part. And clearly, it's not.
But it's not like that's. If you're looking at it from a standpoint in terms of like morality, it has zero to do with morality. It has everything to do with the fact that the NFL relies heavily on integrity and especially on the outcomes of their games. If you have players gambling on it, think about the ramifications that has on a broad scale. One guy getting beat up in a bar, we're talking about people like gambling. We're talking about, there's a lot of seedy things happening.
Calvin Ridley was suspended for a year. Like, then why isn't that the same thing? Gambling is gambling, no matter what. You win, lose, draw, whatever. Ask Kyle.
I think what we're talking about here is there's levels to it. And when Calvin Ridley, I think, was betting on games that the team that he was playing, and even though he was suspended, so he was including his team in parlays. That's like insider information. You can't be doing shit like that. You know what I mean?
You know what show I watched the other day for the first time in my life? Arliss.
Such a good show.
But like the guy that works for me.
Honestly, I'd probably watch it now and hate it.
It's corny as shit, but it's very old. But like Shaq is like, he shows up. Shaq is like episode 2. He's like, yeah, my hand's all busted up. I don't know if I'm going to play. And the guy who already placed the bet, he's like, really? Right? So he knows about Shaq not playing. Anyway, Arliss.
Yeah, and I don't really fully know the details of each of their suspensions and why. I don't know. I just saw the games and I'm like, whatever. I don't give a fuck. I see the bottom line in those things. I'm not really interested in the details of why they were suspended for the length. But Armand's coming in and saying that.
Proud Jets fan, Mr. Nick Shine, you missed the entire Jets.
Armand's coming in and saying that Jameson didn't bet on NFL games.
Okay. Then I guess there's the gray area, right? I mean, whatever.
But they're placing. I think it was that he was placing bets at the complex.
Correct. That's what it was. That's what it came out to do.
Yeah.
But I mean, it could have been MLB for all we know. But whatever.
But
gambling is gambling.
Because of there's not an NFL player beating up a guy in a bar every day. This is a big issue that they have to get rectified because
if not, it's going to.
How many players last year got suspended for beating up somebody?
I don't know.
One.
Who?
Kamara.
Oh,
right. Yeah. So, how many players last year were suspended for gambling? Clearly, it's a bigger problem.
It is. It is. Don't beat up anybody and don't gamble on site. NFC South. I talked about this with Jimmy Palumbo and the 2 people that watched our show the other day. I'm kidding, Jimmy. But the Bucks, the Panthers, the Saints. To me, the Saints should win this division. I think that they're more equipped than any other team in their division. I think the Panthers might be like pests, right? They might like win a couple games here and there. They're like, wow, I didn't expect that because of their coach. Bryce Young is shorter than anybody I've ever seen play the quarterback position. It feels like, I don't know, man. I think Derek Carr catches a bad rap because of the way it ended in Oakland, Vegas, whatever. But once Kamara does get back, you have Michael Thomas, who apparently is going to play somehow. I don't know. But then Chris Olave going to take that next step. I think the Saints' offense is good. I think their defense is better. But I look around that division, I'm like, the rest of this shit's junk. I mean, Tampa Bay, if you're a Tampa Bay fan, which I know Sam Grasso is, it's unfortunate because you have nothing to root for right now. Baker Mayfield is your stopgap to what? Kyle Trask? Are you going to tank and you're going to get Caleb next year? Like,
He's
what?
going to have a tough time tanking.
I don't know.
Because Arizona exists.
That's true.
So the division is one of them probably. Atlanta has a chance to make some noise, I think. Their corners took a step back last year in Atlanta, but they were really good the year before. And you could only go one way with that defense, and they're getting a little bit older. So if it doesn't happen now, it's like a weird combination with Atlanta because they like to run the football and their defense is so bad. So it doesn't really jive, giving up points right away and then getting back out and running. It's like they're not stopping teams enough to be able to just run the ball 60% of the plays. But as far as what they're able to do when running the football, their offensive line, nobody talks about Atlanta's offensive line because they're not winning playoff games.
And they're run heavy, man.
They're
very run heavy.
Very, very good offensive line. And they have arguably the rushing title winner this year in Bijan. I don't think it would be far-fetched to assume that he's going to get 1,500 rush yards this year, considering the
As a rookie, huh? Okay.
Considering how much, a lot could go wrong in an NFL season, but when you run the ball 55% of the snaps and they don't look to be throwing much more, I think caution on Kyle Pitts and Drake London again because they just don't throw the ball. And Desmond Ridder, we have no idea.
Yeah, that's another question mark over there.
We know for a fact that Bijan's going to get handed the ball. They're going to
so if Atlanta can catch a lead, maybe they can work the clock, do a little Bill Parcells-esque football, run that clock out, get the lead, win the game. So they can probably steal some games. But again, I don't know. I'm on the Saints this year. I don't even know. Derek Carr, just for me, top 5, top 6 quarterback, in this league, stat wise. I think he's gonna have a fantastic year. I really do.
So you think he's gonna be a top 5 quarterback this year?
Like fantasy, I think he's gonna throw a lot of touchdown passes. I think this kid, he's gonna be good. I mean, it's just it's not like breaking news that people think that Derek Carr is good or bad. But I just think that
Dave's got a gut feeling, guys.
Got a gut feeling. Had the same gut feeling about those Jets last year. How'd that work out? So maybe don't take my bet. Take all the unders.
Yeah, I'm fading Derek Carr heavy.
There is some chatter going on about our old friend Ken Paulman. Let's see. Hold on. Ken Paulman probably uses the term locker room guy 5 to 6 times a game. Bailey, high motor. So shout out to Ken Paulman, who is a Steeler fan and, missed our Steeler thing. I'm sure maybe you can catch up later. Michael Thomas rebound, question mark. You got to get on the field first.
No, I think
Scoop said, I heard Derek Carr got his whole cult to follow him to New Orleans.
I think if we're talking
with
about
the eye black
the
and everything.
Saints, the guy that I got my eye on this year is Kendre Miller. I know he's dealing with a little bit of an issue right now, and it sucks because there's a really good opportunity for him to show something in the first couple of weeks of the season with Kamara out. But he was a beast last year, bro, in college. An absolute beast. So just keep your eye on Kendre Miller. NFC West, heading out west. What seems to be Joey Bosa sets the record yesterday for the highest paid contract in NFL. Nick? No, Joey. Oh, that's a good one. Kyle wants you to name your top 5 locker room guys. I'm dying to hear it too, because I'm sure you could rattle off like
top 5 locker room guys.
Yeah, JJ Watt's
number 1, Dak Prescott.
Oh,
number 2, Micah Parsons. Number 3, Travis Kelce. Number 4, Jason Kelce, the center. Gotta like him. I mean, I hate the Eagles, but he's good. And number 5, Derek Carr. So there's your top 5.
I don't think anybody likes any of these guys on their own teams.
You always seem to think that like the rah guy, like if everybody's like, man, Russell Wilson, what a locker room guy, but everybody's like, yo, get this clown off
I would
the
be in the back if Derek Carr was giving a pregame speech. I would be in the back and be like, yo, when is he gonna?
I said Micah Parsons number 2. AJ, shut your mouth.
I would be talking shit and making fun of Derek Carr with some of my teammates in the back. Don't get it. That's what I'd be doing during that speech. And Travis Kelce, he's the most. You ever watch 1 second of that podcast? It's worse than the Manning cast, the Kelce show, or whatever these guys got going on.
They're holding auditions for
and then
that.
Micah Parsons, like I like Micah, but he's definitely not a locker room guy by any stretch.
Dak Prescott's number 1. He's black. Shut your mouths. Everybody, shut up.
Heck.
Jesus Christ. Whatever. Doesn't matter.
Got like a white ass mom.
Dave's 5 top 5 locker room guys. TJ Watt, JJ Watt, Nick Bosa, Joey Bosa, Cooper Cup. Oh, I missed this fucking show, man. I really do. I miss
And then
all
I think
you
he's
animals.
got Jake Fromm in there too.
You know what?
Didn't Jake Fromm
And
have
they're
a
all
very-
led by Kirk Cousins because after watching Quarterback, the series on Netflix, I love the guy, man. You can't go wrong with that dude. He's got to be one of the nicest dudes you've ever seen in your life. You want to see him succeed. You want to see him.
Wait, is he a locker room guy too?
Sure, why not?
But like, that's my point. Nobody like, what's Kirk doing later? You know, come on, bro. He's a liability in the locker room. At
Oh,
this point.
shit. Anyway,
They like make fun of him. They're dressing him up, you know, with chains and shit. Like he's not one of them.
NFC West. So we're talking about Bosa first. 49ers, obviously the Seahawks right there. I almost picked the Seahawks to win this division, but I don't buy into Brock Purdy yet. I understand what he did last year. He was unproven going in, and then all of a sudden you're like, lights the world on fire. So Brock Purdy just, gets there, gets his elbow blasted off his fucking arm, and then you never see the Niners again. The Niners still have those same weapons, same CMC, Debo, Ayuk, everybody, right? They have all those guys. George Kittle, what?
Bailey, so you're saying that he is a locker room guy because they invited him to the cookout? Barstool hires Frank, the Mets fan guy. Does that mean that he's like locker room guy?
I feel bad for Frank, and I know why they hired him over there. So it's not, you know what I mean? Like, I just don't like that. I don't like
Well,
that.
that's my point. That's the point that I'm making. They're doing it. It's like, of course you come to the barbecue. We're going to dress this white guy up like we're going to throw chains on him and sunglasses and have him parade around and acting like something he's not.
Oh, my God. Anyway, so I got the Niners winning this division with Seattle right there. The Rams, can they be as bad as they were? Cooper Kupp already going to miss week 1. Who knows if he might go on the IR, honestly, for 4 weeks. We'll find out. McVay's got to make the decision soon. And then there's the Cardinals, who I think are blatantly out there in the public saying, we want Caleb Williams. We'll do whatever it takes to do it. They cut Colt McCoy, who was your only shot to even be remotely competitive in any game. You cut him, and then you add Josh Dobbs and then some other clown right behind it. Bro, the Cardinals don't give a rat's ass. And they gave away Simmons for a 7th-round pick to the Giants. Hopkins is out of town already. We knew about that. Kyler Murray, he has a clause in his contract that if he gets hurt again this year, if he gets back on he's guaranteed all his injury clause money. So there's a chance the Cardinals might not even put this guy back on the field. So the Cardinals suck, and they're in disarray, and they're doing it fucking publicly, which is embarrassing.
So how much money are they on the hook with Kyler if he doesn't get hurt and he's just their quarterback for the next 5 years?
$150 fucking million.
Maybe they just throw him out there. Maybe it's just like, all right, fuck it. Let's just get this over with. Kyler, I hope your knee holds up or not, right? And I could honestly see if they got Caleb Williams on the table, Kyler's gone. I know it's going to be impossible.
It's the same thing they just did.
But there's like, what do you do?
Josh Rosen was the guy, right? And Josh Rosen said there's 8 other teams that are going to regret. It's the same thing. New coach wanted his quarterback, got his quarterback. Now that coach is gone, new coach is going to want his quarterback. It's the same. It's the fucking wheel.
It's the same thing.
One
guy wasn't just signed to a massive deal.
Rosen was taken 9th overall.
But he was cut on his rookie deal a year later. He wasn't extended, and he wasn't the first pick. You're telling me
Kyler would be the first one with a big contract to get let go?
You think it's going to be hard? It's going to be as easy to just cut ties with Kyler as it was with Rosen?
Didn't the Packers just get rid of Aaron Rodgers with all this fucking money left on his deal?
Bro, how much do you think they're eating this year? A lot.
Don't you think the Cardinals have put themselves in a position by getting rid of all the other high-priced guys to eat that kind of money?
What I'm saying is it's not the same. Just they're not moving on. It's also Kingsbury came in and they had the first pick that year, right? the dumb idiot, I almost said the R word.
Good boy.
That is their head coach right now. He's already going to be in year 2, which they gave him a leash, but you know he's not making it past year 2 in Arizona. So what they're just going to have
I don't see the future there with Kyler Murray. I don't. Well, I think the proof is in the pudding by all the moves they made.
I agree.
Surrounding
I don't know that there's a future there, but it's not going to be as easy to just cut ties with a guy that's going to cost you $70 million in a cap hit to cut him because you just extended him to a guaranteed deal. Not a fully, but you gave him a.
Do you realize did they give him that money before they hired the coach? Pretty sure they did.
Yeah.
Right. So like the Cardinals said that's our guy,
bro.
Maybe not this head coach.
Bro, if they're watching these videos that we're watching, right?
Uh-huh.
And they're like, And then this guy walks in the room and is starting to make demands about what players we're going to. He's not the GM.
I understand that, but you hired this guy to be your leader of men, a locker room guy. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. That's the way I see it.
Yeah, I think that there would be a potential trade suitor, which is why I think getting him on the field is the most important thing.
New England, Armand.
It'll probably be the most important thing for them to get him on the field. And truthfully, what do you think Kyler's going to do to improve that team? Nothing. So it's like they're still tanking. But
that's what I'm saying.
You can't
even
if
he gets back, even if he misses the first.
Charlie Villanueva.
I think. Jesus Christ. I just don't think I think the Cardinals are blatantly who gives a shit. Anyway, who's winning the division? I got the Niners just squeaking out the Seahawks. I think the Seahawks are definitely in the playoffs as a wild card team. The
Niners are too good defensively for anybody to beat them, but the Seahawks are good. They're just need to see a little more. I like Geno a lot. I think, but he's not taking anybody by surprise this year. Teams are going to same deal with the Lions, and their secondary in Seattle. I think they played a little above their heads last year, and they might be that good, but I need to see. They're very young, and a lot of these guys weren't blue chippers. So
all right,
we'll see.
Everybody knows where I'm going. I think this is, if anything else, when you look at the entire NFC picture, there's three teams. There's the Cowboys, there's the Eagles, and there's the 49ers. In my mind, who can compete at the very end of this thing. One of those teams getting knocked off in that divisional round, right? And guess what? History would say that's the Cowboys, right? Because it's just been the Cowboys for the last fucking 30 years getting bounced out of that round.
But not this year.
I listen, I think when push comes to shove, Cowboys are better than both of those teams on paper right now. Right now, the Cowboys are better than all those teams. The Cowboys, if anything, the window is going to shut like very soon because these other teams that are on the cusp, Seattle, Washington, teams like that will get better, right? The Vikings, they might move on eventually from Cousins. Who knows? The Bears, your Packers will still be in the mix. Like the NFC is going to be a bitch in the next coming years. This year, you got to strike now. And if they don't, you better question yourself, look yourself in the mirror, Dallas, and figure out what the bigger move is after the end of this year. But I think the Dallas Cowboys can win the NFC. What say you, Chris? Or is that corny too?
It's on brand, which is the point that we're making here. I think that what you said, you don't even believe that as far as the best team on paper in the NFC. They're not. No fucking way. Philly's defense is so good and so stacked.
They're not better than the Cowboys, though. And you said it yourself in the NFC East predictions. Right? You said the Dallas Cowboys defense is better.
But no. They're so good. And then look on the other side of the ball. It's like the difference really is I think Jalen Hurts over Dak is like so. It's like night and day. And I'm not.
You really think that? You really truly believe that?
I do.
I don't. I don't. And here comes Kyle. Dave said he's a mediocre at best. I get.
I've watched Dak for years. I've not seen him look as good as I've watched Jalen Hurts look in, every game that he played in last year. It pretty much has, and as far as offensive weapons, AJ Brown and Devonta Smith is as good as it gets in the NFL as a 1 and a 2.
Sure.
Dallas Goedert, the offensive line in Philly is also very elite. So offensively and defensively, I think there's a case that Philly has the best O-line and the best D-line in football. Right, on both sides of the ball. They have a top 5 quarterback at worst. I don't care what anybody says. When we're naming the top 5, if you get through the top 4 and Jalen Hurts isn't your next name, you didn't watch football.
It's a quarterback-driven league, right? And you're saying that Jalen Hurts, you would take him over Dak. But when in that 3, that trifecta, that triple threat match, is Brock Purdy better than Dak Prescott? Hold your tongue.
I think Brock Purdy hasn't done anything to show me that he's better than Dak Prescott, but he certainly did enough to show me that he's not worse. Last year, considering the confines of how he started, we don't even know how good Brock Purdy is, bro. He's the 7th round pick, last pick in the draft, and he didn't even get a full season to start with the ones. Like now he's got a full camp under his belt. And the offense in San Francisco, there's no team has more weapons than that.
AJ, I was very curious about that as well. How you don't bring in a Kareem Hunt to back up and get your next Zeke, your next
because Kareem Hunt's washed. It would be like,
and look,
why wouldn't
maybe they believe in Rico Dowdle. I don't know. And maybe this Deuce Vaughn, there's something to it. Who knows?
These younger running backs, like they're younger, they're more fresh, and they're hungry. Kareem Hunt's got a little bit of money. Zeke's got a little bit. I would never pay a back at the tail end of his career unless I'm completely contending and it's middle of the season and my guy gets hurt.
All right. So NFC champion Eagles.
Yeah.
Super Bowl champion. Who wins it?
Eagles.
The Eagles and their drought as well, because they have one. You know, it's a 3 or 4 years. Also, that would mean that for the first time since 2004, there's been a repeat division winner in the NFC. So you're on the Eagles.
Go Birds.
I think that the Cowboys will be there. I think the Chiefs will probably be there. I couldn't stomach a Cowboys fucking.
The Eagles
Jets
don't even
Super
have
Bowl.
to play anybody in the Super Bowl because there's no one.
That's true. On your end, they'll just walk through and play John Cena because you can't see anybody. Look, do I want to pick the Cowboys to win the Super Bowl? Sure, but historically, they've broken my heart. I think they do get over the hump. I think they get there, and they probably break my heart in the Super Bowl.
AJ, what was
if Mahomes is in the Super Bowl, it's very hard for me to be like, he's not gonna win.
What was
it's just different.
What was Kareem Hunt's yards per carry last year? And I don't know. I'm curious because I want to know if he's washed or not. And I think that'll be very, very telling.
Couple opinion teams that Murray would get traded for: the Falcons, Commanders, Vikings, Bucks, Pats, or Finns.
I don't think that the Commanders would trade for Murray right now, considering I think they really do like Howell. And I don't think the Vikings would do it because they just have one of the most team-friendly situations happening with Kirk Cousins, and I don't think it's a big upgrade. Bucks, maybe. Pats, maybe. Finns, no way.
All right.
But
we'll see.
That's his opinions as well.
Last one. Who's winning MVP? Mahomes again? Just because?
Wait, you picked the Cowboys to win the Super Bowl?
No, I said they're going to probably break my heart in the Super Bowl. Like, it's hard for me to bet against Patrick Mahomes in the Super Bowl, no matter who they're playing.
So who's asking about? You're asking about MVP?
Yeah, MVP. 3.8 yards per carry by Hunt, by the way.
Screams washed and banged up.
It also screams that the Browns weren't all that good last year.
No, but their running game is really good. Their offensive line is very good. So it's like we're not as a whole. Yeah, no. But Nick Chubb, how many yards did he rush for last year? Pretty good.
Yeah, Chubb was good.
So Kareem Hunt banged up.
Who's got the Jags and the Lions?
Banged up.
That'll be a ratings nightmare
because he's washed.
All right. So there's your.
So wait, MVP.
MVP.
Jalen Hurts.
Jalen Hurts. Wow. So he's just all birds all day over here. MVP for me. Until you dethrone him, Mahomes. I mean, it's just one of those things. It's just, I don't know. I just can't get off the train until somebody derails it. He has to get hurt. Knock on wood that he doesn't, but or knock on for Micah. Not Micah Parsons. This is for Micah, the desk. But yeah, that's it. But that'll do it, ladies and gentlemen. I hope everybody had a good time. We had a lot of good laughs here. Can't say when this is going to happen again. We work on completely different schedules at this point. A lot of busy work happening over here at Chop Studios.
Joe Burrow.
If you know. Burrow. I'm not Biggie Nug. Sighead. My dad will get that one. But anyway, I also think the borough of Mattawan wins. Yes. And the community around the Mattawan
I'm
community.
over here saying fucking swing and a miss on that one. I was about to say swing and a miss, and Dave fucking co-signed the joke. I was about to be like, Scoop, that one wasn't that great.
It was good.
And Dave fucking loved it.
I mean, why not?
You guys are the worst. You're the worst.
I missed all of you. I think it's good to hear from everybody. Enjoy the football tonight. We got ourselves the season. Kicks off tonight. Can't wait. Got plenty of fantasy implications. Got Mahomes in the league.
So you guys want to hear my receivers? in my keeper league? You talk about that?
Yeah. Well, by the way, I do have to shout out, since this is a Chop Sports vehicle, I got to shout out Pat Volkamer for his viral post the other day that just
the best
took
thing,
off.
I don't even
half a million people.
I don't want to even get too deep into it, but the best thing about it was Cooper Kupp hit hamstring. He's fine. It's in parentheses. It's fine. Is it?
Just as he misses.
You sure about that?
You sure about that? He's gonna miss a couple of weeks. But anyway, I hope everybody enjoys the football. I love you all dearly. I miss all you guys. Let's get together. Let's have some beers soon. Literally talking to all of you. Just all of us. Just go out one night and have ourselves a rager. But yeah. So enjoy the football. We'll see you guys next time. Maybe. Sort of.
Is that like